Everyone saw her the moment she walked into the wedding hall. Yet somehow, every guest acted as if she didn't exist. A black woman standing alone near the entrance, holding a quiet grace that seemed out of place amid the forced smiles and polished laughter. People shifted, whispered, and moved their chairs as though her presence disturbed the perfect picture they wanted the wedding to be. Something in their cold glances made it clear she wasn't welcome. But at the height of this silent rejection, the groom looked up, froze, and whispered her name, and that moment changed everything. Wait a second. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more powerful and inspiring stories just like this one. The estate hosting the wedding was one of those places where old money lingered in every detail. The carved pillars, the manicured lawns, the chandelier that had supposedly survived 3 generations. The families involved were proud of their reputations, their traditions, and the carefully curated social circles they believed reflected elegance. Daniel, the groom, grew up in this world, raised with expectations: study hard, marry well, maintain. The family image never asked questions that might disrupt the narrative. Emily, the bride, came from a similar background, though she carried herself with more warmth than those around her. Her smile lit the hall in ways the chandeliers couldn't. The guests, business owners, lawyers, doctors, stood dressed in their finest. But beneath the elegance lay unspoken rules about who belonged. And on this day, the woman named Maya did not fit those rules. She stood at the back in a simple navy dress, hair pulled neatly, posture calm, but eyes observant. Alone. Not on the guest list. Not acknowledged. But not apologizing for being present. The envelope she held had been sealed. For years, waiting for this exact day. A day Maya hoped would bring clarity, truth, and closure. She knew she wasn't welcome. But she hadn't come for approval. She had come for answers. As the ceremony began, the crowd's unease grew. Guests exchanged looks, wondering who this woman was and why she dared to stand among them. Some assumed she must be a server who had wandered off course. Others thought she might be lost. A few saw her race first and judged everything afterward. Maya remained still, watching Daniel and Emily exchange vows. She had seen pictures of Daniel before, found them tucked in old family albums. But seeing him in person struck her with a sudden ache. He looked so much like the family she had known, yet surrounded by a world she had never been allowed to enter. When the officiant pronounced the couple married, applause roared through the hall, except around Maya. The guests nearest her clapped, hesitantly, glancing her way as if unsure whether she was supposed to celebrate a union she seemed disconnected from. During the reception, the atmosphere grew even thicker. Maya approached the refreshment table, but a woman quickly slid in front, redirecting her path with a sharp smile. When Maya stepped toward the gift table, a man subtly placed his hand on the box, blocking her from laying her envelope beside the others. It was not loud racism, it was quiet exclusion, the kind that leaves no proof except the weight it leaves on the heart. A small child looked at Maya curiously, perhaps sensing nothing but another human in the room. But before the child could come closer, his mother tugged him away, whispering something that made him glance back at Maya with sudden caution. Still, she stayed. Her fingers tightened around the envelope as she waited for the right moment. Daniel noticed her repeatedly. His eyes lingered on her face, confusion furrowing his brow. Every time he looked away, his gaze eventually drifted back toward her. Emily, too, began noticing Daniel's strange tension. Whispers spread like smoke. "Who is she? Why is she here? Why hasn't anyone escorted her out?" They didn't know that the truth she carried was heavier than their gossip. She had waited her whole life for the moment when Daniel would finally see her. Eventually, Daniel stepped away from a cluster of relatives and made his way through the hall. The room grew quieter as guests realized he was approaching the woman everyone had so carefully avoided. He stopped in front of Maya. The guests leaned in, hungry for an explanation. Emily watched from across the room, confusion etched across her face as she observed her new husband stare at someone he clearly recognized, but didn't seem to understand fully. Maya lifted the envelope slowly and handed it to Daniel. He hesitated, then opened it. Inside was a single photograph, a faded picture of a woman holding two toddlers, one unmistakably Daniel, the other Maya. The resemblance was undeniable, their faces, their eyes, the shape of their smiles. Two siblings captured long before life separated them. Behind the photo was a letter written in handwriting Daniel hadn't seen since childhood. It was from his mother. The truth unraveled in seconds. His family had kept Maya hidden, the child of an affair his father had years ago, a child they concealed to avoid scandal, mainly because the woman Daniel's father had been with was black. They had paid Maya's mother to stay silent, to leave, to disappear. They built a life where Maya didn't fit their image, but Maya hadn't come for anger. She came because she learned the truth only months ago, after finding old documents her late mother had kept. She came because she wanted Daniel to know he had a sister. She came because she wished to make a connection, not revenge. Daniel's knees buckled slightly, the weight of the revelation shaking him at his core. His parents paled, frozen where they stood. Guests stared in shock, their judgment now turning inward as they realized their coldness had mirrored the very cruelty that had fractured this family. The room stood suspended between past lies and present truth. And in that fragile silence, Daniel looked at Maya with tears forming in his eyes. What happened next didn't come from obligation, it came from instinct. Daniel stepped forward and embraced Maya, holding her with the kind of connection that doesn't need words. Guests gasped softly, but none dared to interrupt. Emily approached slowly, placing a gentle hand on Daniel's back, silently supporting him as the hall tried to process what had unfolded.